Imagine this. You cradle your newborn daughter in your arms. Her tiny fingers curl around yours. Her breathing is soft, steady. You've chosen her name with care, love, and the quiet joy of starting a new chapter in life. Her name is Clara. It feels perfect. It feels like her. But just days into this fragile, beautiful moment, you're told you've made a terrible mistake. Not because of anything you did to harm her. Not because of something you failed to do. But because your son, your grown son, has decided that the name you chose for your daughter is the one name he and his girlfriend had already planned for their own unborn child. And suddenly, the room feels smaller. The air feels heavier. Because they are demanding that you change your baby's name. I didn't have my children the way I planned. I had my son when I was young. We've been through a lot together. I supported him, raised him mostly on my own. And then life surprised me. Years later, with a new husband, birth control in place, and my son off at college, I found out I was pregnant again. I was 40. It was a shock, but it was also a blessing. I prepared to be a mother all over again. 4 months into my pregnancy, my son called me with his own news. His girlfriend was pregnant too. I wasn't thrilled at first. They were young, still in school, but I told myself to be supportive. I offered them more than emotional support. I gave them financial help, covered expenses, made sure they didn't have to struggle. When my daughter was born 2 months ago, I named her Clara. It was simple, classic, beautiful. No one had claimed it. No one had told me it was theirs. It was ours from the moment I saw her. And then, the explosion. My son's girlfriend called me, her voice sharp, almost shaking. She said Clara was the name they had chosen for their daughter, and I had stolen it. She said I should have consulted them first. I reminded her that I had been pregnant first, that she never told me her choice, and that a name is not something one person can own. But my words only seemed to fuel her anger. She said I needed to grow up. She accused me of stealing the only name she liked. My son asked me, no, demanded, that I change my baby's name. He was serious. And when I said no, he stormed out of my house. Days later, I heard their decision. They weren't going to use Clara after all. Instead, they would name their daughter Paxton. But when I heard the way they talked about it, my stomach turned. They weren't choosing Paxton because they loved it. She admitted outright that she didn't even like the name. She said she would like it when I had to tell people that my granddaughter was named Paxton. She was willing to name her own child something she disliked just to make me uncomfortable. And in that moment, I realized this wasn't about a name. It was about control, resentment, and a deep, ugly grudge. I asked my son, point blank, if he actually liked the name. He hung up on me. Then he called back with an ultimatum. I had 2 months to fix this by changing my daughter's name. If I didn't, they would go through with naming their baby Paxton. I told them exactly what I thought. I told them they were acting like idiots, that I felt sorry for their future child, that if they named their daughter Paxton purely to spite me, I would cut off all financial assistance. He accused me of being controlling, but how could that be? I wasn't telling them what to name their baby. I was telling them that if they treated their child as a pawn in a petty grudge match, they could do it without my money. And then came the turning point. I thought about it. I took a deep breath and decided to extend an olive branch. I texted his girlfriend, saying I'd been thinking about it and that I actually kind of liked the name Paxton. Her reply came back almost instantly. You evil bah. That was it. That was the moment I knew the conversation was over. That was the moment I knew my support, financial or otherwise, was finished. The fallout wasn't quiet. My son doubled down, insisting I was in the wrong. The girlfriend made it clear she hated me. And somewhere, in the middle of all of this, there's an unborn baby who will come into the world carrying a name chosen not from love, but from spite. I look at my daughter, my Clara, and I think about the years ahead. The birthday parties, the family gatherings, the conversations she'll overhear about how her name was the spark that set this fire. And I think about my granddaughter, whoever she turns out to be, and how her name will carry its own complicated story. It's not the way I wanted this to go. I wanted to support my son as he became a father. I wanted us to find joy in raising our children so close in age. But instead, I'm watching him get pulled into a cycle of immaturity and resentment, and I can't pull him out. I know some people will say, I should have smiled, told them Paxton was lovely, and kept the peace. That maybe I should have let the name fight go and focused on the bigger picture. But I also know that respect has to go both ways. That it's not controlling to set boundaries, especially when someone is trying to weaponize a child's identity. Still, I can't shake the question. Was I wrong to make this the line I wouldn't cross? Should I have just swallowed my pride for the sake of family harmony? So, am I the asshole? And here's where I step back as your host. Because yes, this story is about a name. But it's not really about a name at all. It's about power, respect, and the moment we realize that sometimes the people we love will use our love against us. Here's the truth that's hard to say out loud. Family doesn't give you the right to control someone else's life. Not their choices. Not their identity. Not their child's name. And the flip side is just as true. You can love someone deeply and still refuse to fund behavior that goes against your values. This story leaves us with a challenge. What do we do when respect runs out, but the love remains? When every instinct tells us to fight back, but we know that fighting might only make the wound deeper? So I'll ask you, listening right now, if you were in this position, what would you do? Would you change the name? Would you walk away? Or would you keep trying, knowing it might break your heart? Because at the end of the day, maybe the real question isn't about who's the asshole. Maybe it's about who's willing to stop the cycle before it swallows an entire family whole.